enough. That was good enough.
Hi, neighbors. Welcome to our weekly podcast, Good Enough. Our goal is to interview guests who did not let being perfect keep them from achieving their dreams, whether it be writing a book, growing a business, or achieving some other form of success. They are heartfelt, passionate, and good enough to be noticed. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. How are you?
I've just been enjoying a delicious York peppermint patty.
You probably need it.
It's refreshing and it's chocolatey.
Right. Have you had a lot of coffee? This is probably something yeah. No, I remember Sammy.
That goes without saying. I've had a lot of coffee.
So.
It's coffee all day long,
Hey, listeners, welcome to Good Enough. We love it. We're already in the holiday spirit. And if I know Sammy's already been into the holiday spirits, who knows what's in that cup? But I got to tell you, we're by the way, we're winging it, is what we're doing.
What was Jack Nicholson's quote when he took that swig on Easy Rider?
What?
Do you remember? He takes a swig of whiskey and he goes,
tell me.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so he's flying high.
Listeners, if you know, I'm sure we could look it up. That if only there were a way we could look things like that.
I'll never get that time back. Listeners, we are sponsored by the Ripe Choice Farm Stay and Catering. And we are a 6-acre farm with an orchard and a vineyard, and we had a record harvest this year and everything. Yeah, and we do farm to fork catering, and we have an Airbnb. So come out and stay with us. We'd love to see you. The Ripe Choice Farm Stay and Catering, and by Happy Friday Neighbors newsletter that comes out every Friday for the last 25 years. And I'd love for you guys to get on that as well. Email mark@marklips.com. We should put our emails up there at some point, Sam. mark@marklips.com.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I'm not doing that because people will actually write me.
Yeah, I want them to write me. I need a social life. And, digital.
It might be threats.
So who are your sponsors?
My sponsors are Pride Staff, Bloomington, Illinois Staffing Company, full service staffing, headhunting, direct hire, and HR consulting. As of late, I've done a lot of that for whatever reasons. And some laws have changed. Everybody knows I'm an HR guy, so I'm getting all these calls, and Terry keeps saying you need to charge for that.
Is it regarding business law?
It's labor law and business laws. Yeah.
We are doing a business law workshop January 24th, specifically for that.
Yeah, that's a good one and that's a good time to do it because each state's laws change so much from year to year
because of all these changes.
Yep. And California is way more complicated than.
You only have to do a 4-hour 2-day work week now in California.
Yeah, and we're also brought to you by here in Bloomington, Illinois, by Sam Substack. The Finally Friday Philosophy comes out every Friday. Not for 25 years, but something less.
I pilfered from that. I would say off and on for 25 years. I pilfered from that this week. I took your HR comments.
Oh, cool. Well, you're always welcome to pilfer.
And the Mark Twain quote. I love it.
Yeah, I did too.
You know what? I want to have your economic development guy back on because I also want to talk about small business.
Well, I got another guy I want on. Another economic guy that's an ag econ guy.
Okay.
Ag econ. And he's lived all over the world. I really enjoy talking with this guy.
Well, listeners, if you have any thoughts on this, let us know. Maybe you could be a guest on our podcast. But
yeah.
We had this discussion with the chamber in a government affairs meeting the other day. We're wondering if in a small rural community like ours, this is a totally different animal than Bloomington. Bloomington's got much more manufacturing and all that. We don't,
Well, we're really white collar. It's a extreme white collar town.
Yeah, not ours, blue and white. But
Ag.
what's interesting is people say, Mark, you're talking about small businesses and closing. That happens all the time in a rural community. You know, the money is not there. The cyclical, you know, all of that. Kids leaving, not coming back. Well, said that's always been a challenge because what is here for them? You know, unless you're going into agriculture, unless you're going to open up a small appliance repair shop or car shop or open a general store or, you know, or do something entrepreneurial like, you know, which then it's hit or miss if it's going to survive, or a restaurant, maybe a diner or something like that. And then, you know, are you going to survive? And it's interesting. Maybe that's just something that will always be in these types of communities.
I'm sure it is. You know, and I think that's always going to be the challenge. Although McLean County was the only county in Illinois that grew in population last year. That's
they all came from California. They all came from California. They all moved there. California.
We do have California license plates running up down the streets now, but
every state.
It's 4 o'clock, man.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go meet Julie. There she is.
There she is. Oh, so Julie, I'm Mark Lips. You know Sam, but this is going to go so quick because I have so many questions for you.
Oh no.
Actually, Julie really doesn't know me, Mark.
I love your hair, everything. You're fine. You're great. I love your hair. Love your teeth, everything.
Okay.
We got to know what's going on and what is your mission and impact, because I have a ton of questions about food insecurity.
Well, to be honest, Julie doesn't really know me. She made a presentation at the WIOA board, and I was.
Well, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
And I said, man, she would be wonderful on our podcast. So
yeah,
outside of that, we don't really know each other, but I'm fixing to get to know her better right here. So
yes,
Julie,
this is the start of it. Here, hopefully we get to really know each other very quickly.
So tell me, what is the mission and the impact that you would like to have? I mean, is obviously probably from the mission of what you do, what you're doing.
So the mission of Peoria Grown is to address nutrition insecurity. So I think a lot of people use the word food insecurity, but what we're seeing right now in the community is more of nutrition. There are plenty of food being inundated in our community right now, especially charitable food. But what we have seen in the last 5 years is that there's a bigger issue with our families, because a lot of the families that were relying on this charitable food from the food banks and pantries were also dealing with health issues. And a lot of it, as we sat down with our families, it could be better managed and dealt with if they were given access to the right type of food. And so that's how Peoria Grown came about 5 years ago. We were looking at, so we know that a lot of these communities were dealing with health issue, but when we looked around at what resources that are available to them, there were really nothing much when it comes to getting healthier food. So that became very concerning to us, because we knew that if they get access to some of these food, it would help them manage some of the health issues that they're dealing with. So that's what happened. And that became our mission. How do we give families access to healthy, affordable food? And then combining that with education. Because another big barriers we found is that, and there was a lot of narrative when we first came out that, families don't know how to cook, they don't want to eat healthy. But that was not what we were hearing when we went out and sat down and spoke to our families. What we were hearing is that they can afford to eat healthy food on a consistent basis. And if they do, there's nothing around their neighborhoods, because a lot of these families we work with don't have reliable transportation. And for us, what happened 5 years ago in Peoria in 2018 was there was 2 big grocery stores in the south end of Peoria that closed down and immediately made those neighborhoods now we call a food desert. So when you walk into those neighborhoods, there is nothing available. There's no grocery stores. There's a bunch of convenience stores, but when you walk into those stores, what do you see? A lot of processed items in every aisle. And if they have anything that's fresh, it's almost double to triple the price if our families can make their way to maybe like an Aldi or even a Walmart.
Wait a minute, Julie, are you telling me that stuff on the roller is not healthy?
Yes.
What?
So
I
look,
know. Isn't that surprising? Yes.
Julie, okay. So are you teaching them how to fish?
Yes. So this is what we did. So our mission was first get access to healthy, affordable food. And then the second part was education.
Well,
Because
let's take the first one, access to healthier foods.
So,
How
okay.
is that happening? Are you building gardens in the schools? Are you putting up farmers markets on every block? Every day, by the way, on every block?
No. So what we found out is when we sat with our families. So what happened during COVID is that, when we were starting, everything was going great. We started off actually, Mark, with just educational classes. We went out and we worked and we partnered with dietitians because we found out that we needed subject matter experts who really know what they're talking about, especially with there's families who are dealing with health issues. We wanted to make sure we're giving them the correct information. That's why we partnered with dietitian. But then COVID hit. So what happened during COVID, and this was the impetus of starting the access part of our programming, we went out to the community and started distributing food from the trunk of our car. I would fill up a trunk of my car with fresh veggies and another volunteer's car with fresh food. And we would go to different neighborhoods that we know that don't have access to these food. And we were giving them out for free. We just asked them, come on and take what you want. And it was during that meeting, a lot of the families spoke to me and said, hey, Julie, I love this idea, but we would love to be able to buy our own food, but it's just that we can't afford it. So I asked them, what is affordability? Because, for someone like me, it means very different things. $10 could be affordable to me. But to a lot of our families, that's not. So I was like, if I were to give like a bunch of salary, how much would you be willing to pay $1? So the idea came out within 3 months of me listening and hearing this over and over again during our pop-up market. The idea of Market 309 came in where we wanted to be able to provide a family access to affordable. Like everything priced at an affordable price that they can pay for. And we wanted the market to be in a neighborhood that families can walk to us, knowing that transportation is a problem. So in January of 2021, we opened Market 309. It is a pop-up, like a farmer's market. We bring in fresh produce and fresh fruit. That's all there is. We were very fortunate to be able to partner. I went around asking for anybody who would speak to me, like, can you sell me something at cost, like veggies, and then we would like to subsidize it. We want to bring it down to a price of $1 because that's what our family told us they could afford. So we were very fortunate to partner with Hy-Vee. I was very lucky to walk in and got a director at Hy-Vee who totally understood where I came from because her husband was a dietitian. And she's like, you know what? We love what you're doing. So we will work with you where we would sell you the produce at cost, and then Peoria Grown will subsidize it again just to bring it down to that price point that our family said they could afford.
So how are you raising the money to subsidize? Where are you getting your funds from?
A lot of our funding comes from private donors when we first started. And then we started writing for grants, for small grants like community foundations and started. So that's how it goes. But the model is also based where we sell, because we do get revenue. We do get some of the money back. We do lose money, but we still get enough. Yeah, and we get enough week over week to be able to continue paying our bills to Hy-Vee. Our long-term vision is that eventually we would love to be able to connect more with local farmers who are able to sell us excess produce, or community gardeners who are willing to support us by selling it at cost so that they can just recoup what they need to plant their stuff. But again, knowing that the food is feeding the community that they're in. So that's our long-term vision, because for us, the challenge was, how do we get our families to take that first step to come in through the door, to buy something that they're using their money, their own money, to be able to start eating healthy on that path to a healthier lifestyle. And by pricing it at that price point, we met that need and it has exploded. We are in our third year.
What's not to like, right?
I know, but when we first started, Mark, you wouldn't believe how much people's like, no, they're not going to come and buy from you, Julie. Nobody wants to pay money. They want freebies. Who's going to come and shop with you? The first day we opened, we could barely, and we didn't even do any marketing. It was just pure word of mouth. Me and a few board members just went around the neighborhood passing out flyers. It was just the word of mouth. We grew. And now everybody knows about us. And they are coming and they're using their link card. I don't know what it's called. Link is that EBT card that people, get.
Yep, we
So
have those.
we accept those, and they're using their money to buy it because now they're like, we can afford this on a regular basis.
Mhm.
So we started out in 3 years ago, we just 10 produce, 10 fruits. Now we've grown to like carrying about 60 to 70 different items in our market. And we sell out within 45 minutes. So now for us, it's like, how do we keep up with the demand? And we've been doing it once a week, which is not enough. So we're getting requests from people
exactly.
It's not enough. And they want us to be a regular store, and we want to be a regular store. And that's what we're working towards next year. It's like, how do we get funding? Because our biggest challenge is trying to get the local, state, the city leaders, and the federal government to understand that how our feeding program has to change. The way we feed through food banks and pantries can only take our families up to a certain point in time. But after that, we need to create programming that gives them the self-reliancy, that empowerment, that dignity to be able to buy what they need. And
Have
they
you
want
guys,
to be
have
healthy.
you, and Sam, don't let me jump on any of your questions, but have you partnered with anybody like Blue Zones or anybody like that?
No, we would love to get into touch, but we're such a small little.
No.
We are, we're
Blue Zones
grassroots.
could
We're
be
trying
all
to get
over
there.
this.
You
Sam
I
and
know.
we know the Blue Zones people, and
Yeah, we would love to because we think we fit in so exactly. I mean, like, you talk
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
the Blue Zone is like exactly where I grew up.
at least you would have a partner who has some, at least maybe deeper pockets. I would
Yes.
say they're, but listen, we've got them now in Lake County. Our farm is a Blue Zones approved farm. Our
Oh, I
kitchen.
love that.
And a lot of our restaurants are now getting Blue Zones approved because we're trying to locally source more.
Yep.
That. And but I've sat in on presentations with our supervisors about what we're calling food insecurity, which means there's the nutrition is an issue. And Blue Zones has gone into high schools and set up community gardens. Grade schools, and doing presentations. They even do regular cooking classes on how to prepare.
And that's what we do on a regular basis in all the schools. And then we are predominantly in schools that are in the lower income neighborhoods because they don't get access to that.
Lake County, we are in the lower income area.
No, in Bloomington, we have a huge operation, the Midwest Food Bank, but and they do a wonderful job, but it's mostly processed foods that they.
Yeah.
And so when I look at what you're doing, Julie, I kind of think it's like the last mile problem. You've heard of that, where you can have public transportation, but the last mile is the hardest part of getting people. And I feel like that about fruits and vegetables. It's like it's a last mile problem.
It is. And also for us, the way the feeding system, the feeding program in the United States have to evolve. The charitable food system has not made any impact in the last decade or so. It has, and instead what has there is an outcome now of more of a health crisis. That's what we're seeing in these neighborhoods. There is a health crisis, and a lot of it stems from food. But that's the first thing. Process. And in this neighborhood, all you do and you walk in there is nothing available for our families. And yet we're like, well, that's how they want to eat. That's what, well, when you have that's all the options that's available. But
they'll also assume that they're getting a $7 hamburger at McDonald's or whatever it is now. I don't know what it costs, but it's cheap. It's not.
It's not. But the problem is our family understand that. They themselves say it's not cheap. They want to get their hands on this type of food that we bring in.
Good.
And like I said, the minute we have that available, like the minute Peoria grown established Market 309 in those neighborhoods, we grew. They came. We didn't have any marketing strategy. It was just word of mouth.
So what are your needs? Because it sounds like you're on the right path. It sounds like you're moving in the right direction. You've got a high-class problem of more demand than you have to offer. So what's the issue? I mean,
well, the issue is funding. The issue is that we've been needing to scale for over a year and a half, and we need to be able to open more than once a week. We want to reach out to more
Oh,
families.
it's money. It's
It's
money.
money. It's just money. It's just pure money on how we can scale so that we can be able to work. I mean, last year was amazing. We won a huge grant, which
Need
was like $90,000, which was really good because one of the things we wanted to do is the space that we were in, we want to convert it into a wellness hub. Not only are we trying to provide families with access to the food through the market, but we also want to bring in things like more nutrition classes on site. We want to bring in exercise classes. We want to roll out dietetic services to our families because they can't afford to see a dietitian because they don't have the insurance for it. So there were so many other programs that we want to go in conjunction with and tie into our market, but we can't do any of these because funding, so we do.
Okay. And sorry how ignorant I am, but are you going into maternity wards and talking to mothers about what their needs need to be when they get home and how to feed that baby and take care of themselves so the baby is getting the nutrition it needs? Are you talking to manufacturing companies and going in and talking to their employees about, these are the things you should be bringing in your lunches? And
we would love to, but has Peoria grown? I don't know why Sam has told you. We are all volunteer. I have a full-time job somewhere, so
I thought you were paid.
No, we are 100% run by volunteers. There is no paid position. So, and it's amazing how we've done it with volunteers. Our board is all volunteers. I have a full-time job somewhere. So that's what we're getting to that stage.
You need a Blue Zones because they need paid staff that will come into a county. Like we have our Lake County Blue Zones who Sam and I have met, and they'll come into a county and with the staff and marketing, a marketing person, an engagement person.
Julie, you should watch our Good Enough episode with Greg Dameron.
I will catch. But we have the team, and that's what we're getting on next year. We've come Peoria grown to a stage where we actually need someone full time now. When we first
have you guys reached out to Blue Zones International to suggest that maybe your county would love to be considered as a Blue Zones county? Because that's what Lake County was chosen. We're a very poor, probably the least. How do you put it, Sam? Least affluent, county in the state of California. And I'm just on a high about Blue Zones. And so I think contacting them, maybe,
well, can we take a break for a second? I want to ask Julie her background, because I really don't know much about you personally.
Yeah,
I know there's something that's driving you, and that was my impetus. And this is like, what is lighting her fire? Because she,
I know.
And was hungry. She was hungry.
You know what? First of all, I'm an immigrant. I moved to the United States about 15 years ago. I was born and raised in Malaysia. So a lot of the Blue Zone stuff that you guys see about, from Okinawa and South, the way they eat, the way the food is grown, that's how I grew up. I grew up where my mom would go to a farmer's market every week, once a week, and buy those food. I grew up as food as medicine. My mom never gave us any over-the-counter medicine. I grew up with herbs, and something is wrong, my mom would go to a Chinese herb store and buy those herbs, and that's how I get over a flu or a cold. So that is part of my background. That's what I grew up. Yes. And so it was, so when I stumbled upon this, and I actually started Peoria Grown purely on I was on a project with a local senator. And one of the mandate was that we're supposed to look at something that was impacting our city at that time. And what can we do as a community member to help with some of this issue? And at that year, 2018, when I was telling, we had 2 Kroger that closed down and immediately made neighborhoods call a food desert. And being my ignorant self, I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, what food desert? There's no desert in Peoria. And then, then start learning about what that meant, and that this was just happening like 4 blocks from where I live. And I was like, how do I not know what's going on in my own neighborhood? So that just got me onto this bandwagon of like, I need to find out what we can do. Why are we struggling? I see so much food, and why are we having this issue? And So that short story is how I started Peoria Grown. And,
Oh,
I had no
we
background in food.
we should give Senator Weaver a shout out, right?
Yes, and Chuck knows that. Chuck likes to stir me. He's like, you're like a dog with a bone. You give her something and she won't go out. She will start chasing this all the way through and she'll find. But it was, for me, was mainly, it's like, how do I not know that this was happening in my own community?
So what do you do? What's your day job?
I work for an investment team. So that's my day job. So I run operation for 4 investors, financial advisors.
Okay.
So the investment part
Well,
is.
what if you found a passive fundraising thing that would drive money into Peoria Grown? Sam, I heard about, and this kind of flies in the face of nutrition, but I was at a 50th anniversary. I was a guest speaker at a 50th anniversary party last night for a Rotary Club, a local in our county, a local Rotary Club, and they have a fundraiser that they say brings them hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you have a tie-in with Hy-Vee. Where they get this money, this fundraising, is Food Etc. is the name of the grocery store, and I think it's locally owned, so a little different. But anyway, Food Etc. sells boxes of See's candy all year long, and the total revenue goes back to the Rotary Club. And they say they get thousands of dollars. They said hundreds. I think that's kind of what we're doing it, but they get thousands. And so there's a passive, something that See's just supplies the candy to that grocery store. The grocery store sells it. There must be a tab there that they can press and say, this is See's, and it automatically sends it to Peoria Grown, but in our case, it would go to that Rotary Club. I mean, something like that, Hy-Vee getting a partnership with maybe a product that is a volume sell, which unfortunately means candy probably. But,
Well,
all right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure we want to tie it to a candy bar. Yeah, they'll be like, what's Peoria Grown trying to do here?
sell candy to the rich.
Okay, let's do it differently.
I'm not opposed to that, selling candy to the
Rotary Club.
rich,
Our Rotary Club, and I'm sure Sam's, before they kicked him out, was where you sign up at those grocery stores, and a percentage of what you spend goes back to the Rotary Club. So maybe Hy-Vee would agree, as people sign up to shop at Hy-Vee, that some of that money goes back.
Well, you can do that on Amazon too. You can.
They don't do it anymore.
Yeah, they took the Amazon Smile away. Yeah, they did. But we were on it too.
I did it for our Rotary Club. We made a lot of money off Smile Amazon, and they took it away.
Yeah, for us, and definitely we've been looking at Hy-Vee, and we've been talking quite a bit with them on how different things, but because they're a lot of this major fundraising, they've done different things with us throughout the years and help us raise money and stuff like that. They've been really amazing. And but I think for us at the end of the day too, is that we are trying to change the way local, state, and federal government feed people. We want to try to bring more awareness that the way we are the way we're pushing out food into the community and stuff. That has to be a change on what we push out. The kind of healthy food option has to be predominantly, nutrition has to be a main factor when we do this anymore. Yeah, and so that's been a big.
Now I'm going back to Blue Zone. Yeah.
Yes. So it definitely, for us, we need some policy change, big policy change, and we're hoping that what we have done in the last 3 years, I think, I don't know whether you saw this Facebook, maybe you did, but we just sat down recently as a team and we were like, how do we show the impact of what we did? Because we would say, oh, we sold like last couple of years, 200,000, 300,000 of pounds of food. And it's very hard for people to put their mind like, what does that mean? That sounds like a lot of food. So we actually broke it down the other day when we took all the sales that we did, all the food that we sold and people bought. We have done in 3 years, and it will be slightly more, 600,000 servings of food.
Wow.
This is what we wanted to do. That was our number one goal, was increase consumption. That's
So you
huge.
have a Facebook page. We
do. And
we'll put a
Instagram
link.
is
We'll put a link to everything here.
Yeah.
You know what?
And- and
Put that link. Make sure, Sam, let's send that to Jamie and all those guys over at Blue Zones and see if we can't.
Yeah, when you talk about moving the needle, about trying to get people to eat healthy, we're doing that in a big way with such a small amount of investment in small little steps, but huge outcome. Because we've gotten our families bought lock, stock, and barrel that this and the biggest part, the one I love about coming to the market every week is hearing the stories. We have families coming up to us and telling us that, for example, a diabetic a lady who shops with us regularly, she came to us through a local clinic that refers families. So we have our own so-called food RX program. So we work with small clinics that says,
That's a great way to put it.
yep, we love this. And if you screen a family and you found out that, okay, they need more healthy food, but they can't afford them, give them a voucher to Market 309. And they can buy and pick anything you want. And so, knowing that our price is only $1 for everything, we give them $20 vouchers. They go out in bags. And so this lady has been coming to us. She was diabetic. Her A1C continues to go down after she started eating more of the healthy food that she was buying every week from us. Because the biggest thing she told me was that, Julie, for once, I can afford to eat this every week. I used to have to make this tough choice of, can I buy this? No, I don't have enough money. So I have to eat less. And then maybe at the end of the month, I got a little bit more from my link. I can buy more. But with Market 309, she can afford to eat that same food every huge outcome. We hear that stories all the time.
Why is it called Market 309?
So 309 is the zip code for Peoria.
Gotcha.
That's why it's called Market 309. And we wanted to find a name. Another thing we wanted the market name to be something that the families can relate to. We didn't want it to be so hoity-toity or something that's like, what is this market? No, it's your market. It's in your zip code. That's it.
I do like Food RX. Food RX, is that your moniker? I mean, is that
No, Food RX has been out for a while.
I love that.
Yeah, we love Food RX. And that's the other thing. We are trying to get doctors. We're working with the local hospital. We're like, instead of prescribing medicine, prescribe food. So
That's going to be an uphill battle. That's an uphill battle to get doctors to
we're trying to, right now we're working in with them in a lot of the medical schools, like residences. I've gone into medical school and started talking to all these young doctors like, hey, you guys, because they themselves need to be educated about nutrition. They themselves doesn't understand some of the challenges that their patients are going through. So we've been very fortunate to be able to get a foot in the door in one of the local medical school, and they've asked us to come in to give talks to their residents and to be able to be on panels to just kind of educate them what is we are seeing on the community level, and also some of the challenges that their potential future patients are going to go through, so that they have a little bit better understanding when they ask them to eat healthy. Well, great. Do you know
So
what
is this a city program or a county?
For Market 309, it is a city. So we're right now, because we don't have, again, the capabilities.
Well, you're a big, yeah. So
yeah. So we're staying Peoria right now.
Our county is 65,000 people total.
Yeah.
So what was your connection with the WIOA, the Workforce Investment Board?
So how that came about was very cool. It's, again, the next step for Market 309. We want to be open more than once a week, because we've been getting all that not pushback, but requests from our community members. But in order to open more than once a week, we need someone to run the market. So we were told that if we can work with some of the workforce development people, like your GED students, maybe we can hire them to run the market for us.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to get volunteers to be there to run the market. So that's how the connection came about, because our goal next year is, if we can get the funds, we would like to open one additional day, which is on a weekday, so that we can get families to be able to come and shop more often. And we would like that to be run by some of the GED. That also give them, because another thing we want to do, this is a great opportunity to do a workforce piece. We can hire people from the community to run the market. We want to do that. So, and then for them to benefit from having the market there, and they want that. So, so we're looking for all these connection on be able to start the market next year. But again, all depends on how much funding we get. And We have another idea. We want to roll out another one next year for homebound seniors. We get a lot of homebound seniors that have been calling us saying, hey, Julie, can you deliver? We can't make it to your place. So we're going to roll out something small next year where we deliver to a small neighborhood, a zip code, and test that out where they can order it online with us. And we do a delivery once a week to those homebound seniors. So
I still wanted to go back to this. I mean, you didn't really quite answer my question.
Okay, about.
So what got you hooked into this? I know Chuck Weaver was part of it, and you said that you connect, but there's got to be something in you know, that spoke to your soul.
What spoke to me was that, I could see that all it took was a small little idea of listening to our families to find out what was the barriers, which was for them was access to food, and listening to them to be able to solve this problem.
So that Kroger closing was the trigger for you then?
The trigger for me. And I was like, and the other big trigger was like, why are our families not being able to afford these? Why is this such a privilege, not a right, that families, unless you are a certain income, you cannot eat the way you need to, like the rest of us, unless you have a lot of money, when that shouldn't be the case. We are a country in the United States that has a lot of resources and stuff, but yet our families cannot eat healthy. That really bugged me when I started. I'm like, why is that the case? Why is it that we cannot give our families that option? So is there something in our food system that we need to correct? And if we do, what is that? And how does it look like? So that was why the idea of like Market 309, we're like, the right to eat healthy shouldn't be only given to a small segment of the population. Everyone should be able to access healthy food. So that's why
do you guys have gleaners that will go out to orchards and farms and pick excess fruit and vegetables and stuff like that?
We have, and that's another piece, Mark. I mean, right now there's so many different groups working in this space, but they're working not in tandem. And that's another big piece. But also a lot of it is for us when we first came out, there was a lot of I don't think they understood what we were trying to do. I think they thought that we were trying to close down the food banks and stuff like that. But what we're trying to, and that's not the case. What we're trying to do is that there has to be different stages in our food system, especially in our emergency food system, where we need to help our families get back on their feet. So there are, like you said, I don't know whether they're called gleaners, but there is some resources available where they do pick up excess food, but a lot of time they end up going to the food banks. But the other thing too is that our families also, for us, one thing we pride and we want, and that's another piece that our family takes like about the market, is that they feel that they're not getting the bottom of the barrel stuff. They're not getting leftovers. We bring them good quality.
What's interesting is in California, people from Nebraska and places like that who come out here will say, wow, you Californians, you drop more fruit than you pick. We waste so much food.
Yes.
Because like I waste so many apples. We have 115 fruit trees out here, and most of them being apples, and there's still apples in the tree. And I've had Motherwise, I've had groups come out and bring, who want apples and want different things, and allowed them to pick, heart's content, things like that. And I've got to figure out something to do it, but I wish you were closer. I'd say, come and get all those apples.
Yes, and then that's another thing what we want to do too, and then what we thought of doing with all these excess fruit that sometimes we cannot sell, but what we would like to do is prep those food and sell them as prep food.
Right.
That's our next step. So like anything that's coming, because our families are still getting used to, we've this year we started working with a lot more local farms because we finally had the funding to buy commercial refrigerators. So I could be able to get local farms to deliver and have somewhere to store them. Before that, I was storing them in my home. My husband's like, I need a fridge bag. It's not your grown storage.
But bring home a Milky Way bar.
I know. He probably like, he's. And anyway, so we gotta come up. So we've been like this year. I was very, we hit a big milestone for us. Our goal was to be able during the growing season to buy at least 60 to 70% of our produce from local farms, and we did it this year. We were able to work with 4 to 5 different local farms and orchard and we're able to purchase from them directly. And so we're also now trying to slowly introduce our family. Hey, fruits that you get from some of these farmers may not look as beautiful and juicy and shiny, but they're great quality. And once you start,
it's still good.
Oh, they are amazing. So now they are getting exposure to that. Now they're like, Julie, this is great. I don't want that from Hy-Vee anymore. I want this type of food because it tastes amazing.
But you know what? I think some of these guys, like our pear packing, we have a pear packing industry here where I know the owners very well, so they pack and ship all over the country and Canada and Mexico. They don't go to Brazil anymore because it doesn't fresh enough. When they inject the Fresh Smart into fruit, like who's the company that sends out the fruit baskets?
Peorian David.
Peorian David.
Peorian David. Yeah.
That fruit will never ripen because they injected it with this, and it'll look beautiful.
Maybe I should get that shot.
You're waiting for it to ripen.
I probably need that shot now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Well, we probably all might benefit a little bit from
Hey, listen, I hate to do. Mark said this was going to go fast, and it has. We're down to 3 minutes.
Okay, but
there's a couple.
I think they should be giving you that fruit, Julie. The pear people, they know Tammy will cook with it, and we do a lot of things for them, and they'll bring us over bushels that they can't ship out because it looks a little bruised or it has a little spot, or something like that. It's not pretty. And
but it's great to be able to make this, and that's what we want to do. We want to be able to get those and make into prep meals that we can sell to the market for families to just grab and go.
Well, we got a couple of things to do before we go here. First of all, we need to take a picture. So how we do that is we all look at and just smile as if we're taking a picture.
You have a great smile.
Okay, thank you.
She gets smile of the day. So there's our picture. Now, the second thing, Julie, we have to do is Mark is going to ask you if AI, what questions or comments you have about artificial intelligence.
No, I'm not going to. It's just I'm on this soapbox that
This is a running gag on our show. Mark waits to the very end and asks somebody, so what do you think about AI? We got 1 minute left.
It's gonna kill us. I mean,
how is AI going to help us?
Because we're all going to be slaves to AI. It's going to put writers out of the industry. That one writer who goes and cleans it up. I mean, it's. Agriculture, I don't know what what AI is going to do. It's going to be more robotic with agriculture. You're going to have robotic tractors. You're going to have robotic.
Well, Julie and I live in this land where these farmers are barely in the tractor, right, Julie? They're massive acres, and they're
because. And that's the other thing, we live in Illinois and we import all our food in.
Yeah, because all we grow is corn.
I know, we grow things for feed. I'm like,
most of the corn is feed, and
for feed.
I'm not sure how much of it gets turned into bourbon, but
hardly. Okay, well,
the thing is, but you know what? Well, it's tough here with that because first of all, cannabis is coming in, paying top dollar for land.
It's already here.
We're
getting affected because I got young farmers that can't afford to buy land.
Ag is down. The vine, grapevines are in. People growing.
But really, the cannabis thing is pretty efficient. They don't take a lot of people to do.
Not a lot of people. They take a lot of water.
Oh, they take a lot of water, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Listen, we're down to 1 minute. We need
to. By the way,
say our goodbyes here to Julie and thank her for her time. Mark was right. This was going to fly fast.
Yeah, I did. Oh my gosh. I didn't even realize how fast this went.
We're going to hook you up with, Mark's going to hook you up with his Blue Zone contacts. And
oh my gosh, that would be so awesome.
Really, thank you so much for your time. And it's good to have people like you in the world to help with these things. And,
and you know what? In our opinion, you are good enough.
You're good enough.
Well, thank you.
As you are.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. It was nice seeing you guys. Bye.
Talk to you again soon. Bye.
Good. 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 Enough.